First of all, thank everyone for coming and thank you for inviting me to speak. Um, let's start by telling you guys a little bit about me as a student. Right now, I'm taking 15 college course credits. It's pretty busy, and I'm also the PTK president, Phi Theta Kappa. I have 3.8 GPA. I've gotten one C so far, and that was in communications, so obviously I'm not the best presenter. But so hopefully this isn't as much of a struggle for you as it is for me. Okay, so things haven't always been that great for me, and I wasn't always as academically successful. I grew up on a farm, Caroline County, produce farm. Had a lot of social anxiety that I suffered from as a child. School was horrible for me. Basically, the whole time I was in school, it was just horrible. I never did extremely well. C student most of the time, sometimes a little bit better, sometimes D, sometimes E's. Not that great. I dropped out of high school at 16, so didn't really think I needed it. I wasn't happy there. I was not comfortable there. I was working on the farm. I thought, well, I don't need education. It's not for me, so I'll just drop out. Dropped out. That was a bad decision, obviously. Got into drug and alcohol abuse, which was also not a good decision, obviously. After that, I started working different jobs. I was working in the summer, I was working on the farm. In the winters, I would do construction, work at other places, odd jobs, more jobs than I can even remember at this point. Eventually, I started to come around that wasn't going to work out for me. My father sold the family farm, so I realized I wasn't going to be a farmer. I couldn't afford to buy it because obviously I had no money because I was spending it on drugs and alcohol. And I got into sales, which was probably one of the first things that kind of got me back on track. I was forced to communicate more with people that I didn't know, doing things right on point, educating people, just, being more interactive socially. And I think that was a big help. I was still doing drugs at the time, but not as much. I had slowed down. I was still drinking a little bit. And I decided to take a course at the college. Just jumped into it. It was that communications course, actually. I hadn't been in school for, God, at that time, over 10 years. And I didn't even know how to use Microsoft Word. I jumped in there. I had a crappy laptop. Passed with a C. Came in 2 weeks late, passed with a C. So I guess in the circumstances I did all right, but obviously you don't want to get a C in any class. I decided that at that point in time, college probably wasn't perfect for me yet. So I kind of picked up the pieces, started doing some other things, quit drinking, quit doing drugs completely, started working out all the time, and that was kind of like my new high, was to work out and do well, and that was kind of, what started driving me. Then started getting into bartending. I said, well, I had a problem with alcohol, so maybe I can use alcohol to benefit me this time. So I started bartending. I did that for about a year or so, and then I got in at Tidewater Inn doing banquet bartending. Then I decided that I was going to try to come back to school and redo things. I had been working out probably every day, five days a week, maybe not 7 days a week. And I didn't have that great of an education, so I knew I couldn't do a whole lot at that point other than bartend, but I wanted to do something else with people, hands-on, kind of like sales, but without trying to, sell something. And if I was going to sell something, it would be, like hope and ambition, kind of like the thing that was driving me. So I thought I'd do personal training. So I applied to a course to do personal training online. I got the pamphlets and everything at home, and I started looking over it and learning about the body and the cardiovascular system and, how all that affects, working out. And I thought, well, this is interesting. I like it. And, I'd been dating a girl who was a nurse, and she seemed like, we were kind of on the same level. She wasn't, it wasn't beyond my level, I thought, to maybe be a nurse. So I thought, well, why don't I go back to college and try to be a nurse? So I came back here to Chesapeake. I had learned, how to use Microsoft Word at that point, so that helped a lot, because everything is on Microsoft Word. I came back. I took a full course load. Luckily, my employer was very gracious in the hours and cutting me back just the weekends, so I was able to do that. Did pretty well. I had to take a remedial math course, but other than that, I tested in English 101. That was good. I got through the first semester. My English teacher came to me and said, near the end of the semester, why aren't you taking honors courses? I think you're really good at what you're doing with the writing here, and I think you could do more. And she kind of informed me of the honors program. And the next semester I said that's something I want to do. So the next semester I took 2 honors courses, along with 2 other normal courses. I think one was in anatomy and physiology, and the other was in world civ. And I started noticing that, because of the school and the instructors, and, it's just a really great school. So you start learning things, and you start getting more confidence, and, all of a sudden I'm thinking, well, why don't I just try to be a doctor? So around about the same time I decided to be a doctor, I find out that I get a scholarship. And I'm like, well, hey, maybe this isn't so out of place, because when you're looking at trying to, the education hurdles that you're facing when you're trying to be a doctor, it's like, 9 years of education, and the cost is extraordinary. So you're thinking, well, this is one point. Maybe this will work out. So that's kind of where I'm at now. In the spring, I'm supposed to be graduating with honors. Hopefully that everything works out. I only have about 9 credits left to do, so that shouldn't be a problem. And then I'll be looking to go find my bachelor's somewhere. So really, I just want to thank all the donators and just let them know that, that money helps all the students. Me personally, I can tell you that I was able to buy a better laptop without worrying. I was able to buy anatomically full-size correct skeleton to study all the bones for my anatomy and physiology courses by, diagrams, learning aids, that I wouldn't be able to buy that if I had not got that scholarship. When you get that money and, you see that you're putting in effort and it's coming back to you, and that's a really important thing to know, because it's really hard. Classes are hard. It's harder than working 40, 50 hours a week, in my opinion. This is the hardest thing I've ever done. And but because of the success and because, the universe giving back to me, I feel like it's possible, even though it's hard. And another great thing I want to point out about getting the scholarship money is it's an additional motivator, because at that point you're not only doing it for yourself, you have people that are relying on you to get that investment. You guys give us money and we want to make you guys proud. So I think there was times where I might have just took an extra hour or 2 on a paper that I wouldn't have put in just because I wanted to make sure that I did really good. So thank you guys. I'm sure I can speak for everyone when I say you guys have changed our lives.